pretty simple. I win.
Welcome to Indiana Sports Connection. I am your residential anchor, Aaron. Not good on Saturday night. Luckily, my sickness is all gone. Thanks for, bearing with me. I know this last week I had strep throat. My daughter was sick, a whole bunch of different stuff, but we're going to talk about this Kentucky game. It was, I don't know, does Indiana have a big problem with this team? I mean, I think we've known that the problem was there, but it was the way that Kentucky really took it to us in that last 14 minutes of that game. Indiana just could not do anything in the second half. I mean, only scoring 21 points. I believe the second half was Indiana scored 21, Kentucky scored 40. They were stuck on like 58 forever. But we'll talk about it all in this episode. Do me a favor. If you love the channel, share the video with your friends, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. If you love Indiana basketball, thank you so much for being here and being part of this and listen to these conversations, and leave your comments down below. Tell me, where do you think this Indiana team is? We're going to talk about it. Like, do they really have an athlete problem? Or do they have a problem with, they're just going to be times where this team is just overmatched by different teams. And you can see that they really have to fight and claw and play defense. They did not shoot the ball that incredibly great in this game. So, that's another part of it. But by watching the first half, you thought Indiana was really controlling the game. And I didn't think they were playing that great in the first half, and they were still ahead. It was 39-31. But, how they, and we'll talk about the stats too. We'll pull those up. And but for Kentucky, the way my notes over here, but the one dude who we'll talk about some of the Kentucky players that, because I know a lot of people are really ripping Indiana apart because of this game. It was the rivalry. We don't have a lot of other big time games on the schedule coming up, so we don't really have, before the Big Ten, chances to prove it that we can beat a good team. And Darren DeVries needs that right now. There's definitely been some fall off, like losing the first road game at Minnesota. There's a little bit of just frustrating, could not score in that game. Then the Louisville game, getting really throttled in the first 15 minutes of that game, which that ended up not being in the end. Like, Indiana scored a lot in the second half of that game. So whatever, Then, you have a game last week where Lamar Wilkerson plays incredible. They blow this team away. They can do that. They can blow away minuscule, mediocre, middling competition. We know now Marquette is terrible. I think they're 5-5. I was watching them against Purdue, and they could do nothing against Purdue. So, like, with all that, I'm just trying to put this in perspective, because Darren DeVries does need a big win. There's going to come a point in time where he has to get it done. He has to be able to win with these players. Now, I've heard people say, and I think it is hard. It is so much more difficult than I think we really know, to try to build an entire new culture and team out of like 12 new players. I think I was super surprised at the very beginning how good it looked coming out, the ball movement, the passing, everything like that. So take that into account as well. It's these guys they seem to play together, play well, but when it really comes down to it and they really have to execute, and executing against like the higher level athletes, that's where, the physicality, being a great athlete helps, and when they had, Garrison, Lowe, and Diabate for them, you could see that they were just able to throttle us on defense, get out and transition. There was a point there in the second half, I think we had like 6 turnovers in a row. It was just one turnover after another. You could really tell that the team was getting very frustrated and could not execute. And Darren DeVries, he said that in the press conference afterwards. I got a clip of him right here. Let's take a look at that.
That's some pretty good action, pretty good movement. I thought the second half, Kentucky, we got some pretty good action, pretty good movement.
There we go.
I thought the second half, Kentucky, certainly turned up the pressure and was able to get into us, and we didn't respond well enough. We turned the ball over too much, and live ball turnovers against them are really hard because now they're out in transition, playing in space. So the turnovers and the offensive rebounding, I mean, that flipped the game around that second half.
Yeah. But I mean, at least the dude, you can see that as a coach, he doesn't know what the problem is. But what I said before has to happen. Like they're going to have to really sow their oats in the Big Ten and beat some of these teams. I mean, you look through the Big Ten, Nebraska looks a little bit better than they normally would be, but they're going to have chances. Like UCLA will be kind of in that same spot they were last year. There will be a lot of teams in there. I would have liked to have seen them because they have 2 weeks off before the Big Ten season. And pulling out a win in this Kentucky game would have been monumental for the confidence of this team, for them. I mean, I wanted it for them so bad. Even in the last, I think, 3.5 minutes of the game, I thought, boy, if they could make some threes, they still maybe had a chance there to do something to get it over on Kentucky there. But it just proved to be too much. Kentucky, they took it to Indiana. I didn't see you can definitely tell the effort, not like their overall effort level, but just when they are not making shots, Indiana, their intensity and then the way they play offense really gets affected by that and the ball. But let's get into talking about some of the players because Reed Bailey had a terrible game in this game too. Lamar Wilkerson got into some foul trouble, and then he wasn't able to be out there for some segments. I did hear, DeVries said some in the press conference, like foul trouble is foul trouble. He believes in his guys off the bench, but Lamar Wilkerson, if you want to be a superstar, if you want to help Indiana to win these games, like you can't get 4 fouls and, be out of the game because he only played 21 minutes of this game. And, they really need him to be a star on this team. Let's get the stats up here. I should have done this earlier. I'm good. But yeah, so how they ended up, and I'm sure everybody's already, but yeah, Kentucky did not shoot the ball well. They were 20% on 3-point percentage, but Indiana was 16.7%. I mean, that's just a killer. They did hit their free throws, 26 of 29 from the free throw line, but yeah, 4 of 24 on the 3-pointers, and then some of the players in this game that Sam Alexis again started in this game, but there were just some long segments. Tayton Conaway only played 24 minutes, had 11 points, but he turned the ball over, did not really play his best game. Ends up with 1 rebound, 1 assist. That is not good for a point guard. 1 rebound, 1 assist. And, he was not out there for only 24 minutes. Connor Enright, 5 rebounds, but in games against these types of teams, I almost would like to see somebody else play sometimes besides Connor Enright. Here's where, like, let's talk about the philosophy of when DeVries is bringing these players in. I see why he brought in Enright. He's like, he wants to set the culture, just like Kurt Signetti did with the football team. He wants to like get that stuff in place. So like people know, like, you got to play with that level of effort, and, Enright's out there and he's doing it. Yes. But I do think there is a huge talent gap when he is on the court and he starts in a game already. Tayton Conaway is maybe not the guy who's going to shoot a lot of outside shots and that type of thing. So, when you end up with him on the court, like in a game like this, it can be a detriment to it. Yes. And that's what I think. I think I've heard of a lot of different people. I talked to a lot of different people. I'm like, I wonder if they could play like in some of these Big Ten games, play Reed Bailey and Reed Bailey and Sam Alexis together sometimes, or play Trent Sisley in that spot. So you have maybe a little bit more height, a little bit more depth, in some of those positions. We'll see how that'll shake out. From what I've heard about Darren DeVries, he changes the lineups, that he can really be a magician when it comes to building kind of like a team over the course of the year, that they get better, and he will flip the lineup. And we've already seen that. He put Sam Alexis in there, and I think a lot of people were calling for that. I see why he kept Reed Bailey in there for a while, but you're getting absolutely nothing out of both of these guys on certain times, Reed Bailey or uh, Sam Alexis. And Sam Alexis did not look his best in this game either. I mean, it looked. I thought he was going out early with that hyperextension of his knee, but he came right back in. But he played 30 minutes, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and 6 points. Um, and Reed Bailey only played 8 minutes. One play that was awful from him was he was driving with his right hand down by the basket in a 1-on-1. I mean, it was like on the third dribble, he just dribbled it right out of bounds. I mean, that's where their defense and the pressure of their defense is somehow really affecting your execution. And when they're bringing that intense defense on those play, and you're going to see that in the Big Ten, there's going to be big guys around the basket. We need more confidence driving to the rim and finishing around the rim. That's maybe the one thing this team really needs to work on, is their driving and finishing ability. It is not good. They seem like it's threes or bust, and we do need more driving on this team. We need somebody that can, I don't know. I look at like a team last year, like Florida, and they had this one guy on Florida that just was a absolutely great athlete who's playing at the 2 spot. Like this team could use a guy like that more than anything, like a Victor Oladipo type of. They don't really have any high flying vertical players that can get into the lane and, just dunk all over on somebody. They're just not going to be able to do that. So if this Indiana team is not executing, like if they're not making shots and then the ball sticks, and they are toast. I mean, they are just toast. That's all there is to it. Let's get to some of your comments over here, because and that's why we do have a big deficit on this team when it comes to athletic ability, in the ways that we can, we have to be, because we're a smaller team. That means that 10 times more, we need to be 10 times more physical than we're being right now on every level, blocking out all of that stuff around the basket, and be more physical on the ways that we're driving the ball. There are a million ways to be physical in a basketball game. So, we just need to see more out of everybody on this team, because it's not going to get any easier. They play a couple of flunky teams. I don't know who they play, Chicago State, and they play a couple of bad teams before the Big Ten season starts, and then they got a kind of a weak start to the season. Yeah, the fact that Enright starts on any power conference school is a joke. I mean, I kind of agree. It's I like the kid, so I don't like to talk bad about him, but it's yeah, and Bailey is the worst center in the Big Ten. The coach needs to run more plays. Quit. That is true. I see that there are times when Tucker is just taking liberties at times, and actually in this game, I mean there are times when you can shoot long threes or whatever. I mean, Lamar Wilkerson, just because you make one, you don't need to okay, I'm gonna just take a couple of steps past half court and just chuck up. That is a bad shot. I don't care. It's a bad shot. It's a bad shot. I don't think Darren DeVries is gonna say that to him or coach that out of him. I know he wants him to have the freedom to shoot, but you do have to have some level of feel for the game, and the guy I always go back to, the guy who had the greatest feel for the game, like in high school, that Knight always talked about, was Damon Bailey. Is know when to go fat. Like the great players who play either point guard or just really, really know basketball just have a great feel for it. They have the feel for the team around them, like when guys need to catch their breath, when guys need when to go fast, when to go slow, when to push the pace, when you have the opportunity to push the pace and get the ball up and get a free basket, and when to shoot those threes. There's got to be like a feel to it. And that's really hard to explain to younger people because they don't have a feel for it. They just want to get a shot up because they just want to do what they want to do, right? And so I mean, and that way, I love the way DeVries coaches, and I know we want to shoot more threes, but I think you can also you got to temper it a little bit somewhere, and it's not telling a guy not to shoot. I think it's just having a better feel for the game, like a better feel for like that. Understand why that wasn't a good shot right there from Lamar Wilkerson. And I know, like, I think Barkley said that during the game, but there have been a few of these, and I've not mentioned them. Tucker DeVries taking a lot of contested threes and getting to that comment right there. That's a big part of that too. It's like, I've seen him coming off of screens. He's got a guy pretty close to him in his face. Sometimes his feet aren't exactly set the right way, and he's letting it fly. That's a tough shot from a 3-point shot. I mean, Lamar Wilkerson gets more threes on the catch and shoot where he's not doing that as much, but those are tough shots. No, mind you. So yeah, Silvershire, thanks for being here. Thanks for everybody for being here today. This was abysmal. We unfortunately cannot play consistently at a D1 level with this squad. Wish I had something more positive to say, but no tournament this season, folks. I don't know if I'd put them out of the tournament yet. I mean, they're going to have a ton of opportunities in the Big Ten to win games. I mean, even last year's team, as bad as they were, and they were not well coached, and they were not well anything, but that team was right on the bubble to get in the tournament. Like, they do got to get in some tighter games. I think one of the reasons, well, I wish they would have had about 5 games like this Kentucky game before the Big Ten season, and they just didn't. And I don't know if, DeVries tried to get as much on the schedule, but, Marquette, Kansas State, at that time, those were great wins for us. But I think we can see that those teams aren't really that great. So, this team's really going to have to do all of its damage in that middle tier of teams in the Big Ten, and then maybe try to pick off, some of the teams from the top when you play them at home. If you could beat Purdue and you can get a few of those type of marquee wins at home, they are playing pretty well at home. I got to say that they've done a good job at home. So they're in the Big Ten. They're really going to have to protect home court and win 3 or 4 of the tougher road games against some of those quad 1, quad 2 teams. I mean, that's all they're going to have to do. So, and that's easier said than done, but you know what? I don't like the place that it's in right now. I'd be lying to you if I said that I thought like Indiana's in a great place heading into the Big Ten. I don't like it. I was really hoping for a win over Louisville or Kentucky in one of these games, and that not happening, and seeing kind of how this team was ahead in this game, and Kentucky just kind of like brought guys in that really took it to Indiana and really kind of left them scratching their head. It was frustrating to watch. It was absolute garbage. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Darren DeVries is a big boy. He's a coach. He knows he wants to win the game as much as anybody. He's not one of these divisive coaches. Like, I think he gets it. So, yeah, they got to get better. They got to get more physical, and in these next games, and they'll probably throttle these teams. But heading into the Big Ten, it is very concerning. But Mendoza win the Heisman. That was absolutely spectacular. I'm telling you, Indiana football. I'm gonna make a video about them tomorrow. But it is just like a dream what's going on with Indiana football. Watching that ceremony with Kurt Signetti, and I watched that 60-minute special last night about it. It is just, when you just sit back and you look at it, and I was talking to my dad about this yesterday. It's like, if Indiana went 16-0 in football, and I know that's far off, they're gonna have to win these games, but by all stretch of the imagination, they are the most favored team to win this national championship this year. I mean, if they go 16-0, I mean, that might be one of the most monumental feats that won't be broken for a long, long period of time. I mean, you could almost say that was the greatest season, with this only being the, second year of this playoff. You would say like that was one of the greatest seasons in the history of college football, to do that, to go undefeated in the Big Ten and run that. Like, you might have like a 1972 Dolphins situation on your hands. How many times would that maybe happen? Like, we'll see in the next 25 years. But it's so weird that it's like they can almost do something that the 1976 Indiana Hoosiers did, and like Bob Knight, it took him like 5-6 years to get that team. Kurt Signetti did it in the second year. It's just absolutely crazy, and I just love to watch it. I mean, the quality of the person of Fernando Mendoza. I mean, the things he says, how polished he is as a person. It's fantastic. So, DeVries, he's trying to bring that to the basketball program too. And, he's got his work cut out for him, because we only got these guys. And sometimes these guys are going to be overmatched. And so they're going to have to use the system. They're going to have to use his system, of shooting 3-pointers and playing tough defense and turnovers and rebounding. Like, Indiana cannot turn the ball over, and they have to rebound. And those are the two things, especially the way they play. They have to do those two things. And that's what DeVries preaches. That's what he's trying to get these guys to do. He's preaching that to these guys. I mean, it's just two things that they really have to have a zero in on to take care of. But that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll be making more videos this week about all of this stuff. The beard is gone too. I didn't even say anything. I look like a totally different. It was getting so wild. I would wake up every day with the beard sticking up on the other side, and I'm trying to like comb it out off of me and stuff like that. So I just shaved it off before the game the other day. So thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Indiana Sports Connection. Until next time, stay classy out there, Hoosier fans.